Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to show you guys how to change a tire yourself, and then I'm going to show you guys how to say F it, take it to the dealership and have them do it for you. At some point you need to know when you're doing too much, bruh, and stop and head in a different direction. 4 years ago I did a video changing the rear tire in my garage here on my 2018 Harley Davidson Heritage, and I'll tell you, it was a nightmare. I love to do things on this channel just to show that you can do things yourself if you really put your mind to it, to the point where I just recently did a lift kit on my truck myself. It's kind of crazy, and I totally respect the people who say, just take it somewhere. But I've been a big proponent on this channel to really demonstrate to people that any knucklehead, myself included, can really do these things yourselves, save some money, and learn some skills in the process. So we are going to be doing this again. This is a Michelin Commander 3 that I'm going to be putting on the rear end of this bike because it's time to do it. What we're going to do today is do it with a Rabaconda tire changer. Now we'll get to the Rabaconda tire changer in a minute here. First, I need to apologize to Rabaconda. They sent this thing out to me at my request. I saw this on Yemi Noob's channel and I thought, could this really work for a cruiser? Then I ended up seeing it on Brandon Picasso's channel also, and I had asked them to send it out to me, and they had sent it to me a long time ago. They haven't asked me for anything. So let's tear this thing apart and see how miserable this is compared to when I did it before. I anticipate this going much smoother.
So stupid.
Now, 4 years ago, when I did this project, I didn't have really anything in this garage. Seeing how much this channel has grown and allowed me to add to my tool collection. So I really appreciate the ability to really get into these things with the right tools. Pull out the handy dandy shop manual here to see if our wheel bearings are absolutely zero play there. Now we'll remove the rear brake caliper. You know, I've been watching a lot of Brandon Picasso's videos lately. I really appreciate how much he's demonstrating to people that you can really do a lot with some basic tools. It's inspiring to see stuff like that. So if you're interested, you can go and check out Brandon Picasso's channel. I'll link it in the description down below. Try not to scrape up my exhaust here. This exhaust was actually sponsored by John Maxwell, one of my all-time favorite YouTubers. Unfortunately, hasn't posted in a very long time. Hope to eventually see that randomly change. We'll see. These are the kinds of things that I say, like, I go a little bit overkill. These are brake caliper hangers, but when I was doing the lift on my truck, a quick run to Lowe's, these are totally worth it to keep this hung up and out of the way. Remove this E-clip here. This is actually part of the inspiration for my YouTube logo, these retainer clips. I love getting back to the old tools that I bought. Purpose-built tools. Man, this Let's Roll jack is pretty legit. Now I'm really interested to see when I pull this rear tire off if this Let's Roll dolly is going to have any issues supporting the fact that I'm going to pull a bunch of weight off the back and make sure it doesn't go forward. I think we'll be okay. But I'm going to put my old Pittsburgh jack underneath it just to be safe and see how this thing holds up. So is it worth buying all these tools to have them in the garage? Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think? Do you like to do this stuff yourself, or even invest in the ability to do it yourself, or just take it to a shop and not have to deal with it? Now, I'm going to lock the forks so that we don't have any play up front. This will be interesting. If this thing can support the bike's weight after I remove the tire and drop that front jack, let's roll. Let's see how it goes. It's also a good idea as you're going through this stuff, just to go through and snap photos as you go. Things like spacers, you get kind of a pile of stuff and you go like, man, where did that come from? It's a good idea to be able to kind of go back to those photos on your phone and not have to panic about it. Put this up on the bench. Let's try to get this axle out and see what happens. Easy enough. The axle's coming out. There we go. Air belt is off. Can I drop this jack? Let's try it. What? Even, this is incredible. Even picking up the rear end, it sits back down. That's crazy. So this thing can handle the bike, not only weight by itself, but also all of the weight. Think about how much that weight is of that rear tire and everything taken off the back end there. Not only is it not top heavy on the front, but it also sits back down on the rear. That's incredible. So we will push this out of the way. This is part of why I love this Let's Roll dolly. Now we can see what this thing's all about. A nice little carrying case. With how patient these guys were, they're absolutely getting a sticker spot right up here. I'm kind of excited to see how good this thing is, or if it is any good at all. Beautiful color instructions. Anytime anything comes with color instructions, it's like an immediate first impression that I absolutely love. They even give me some pool noodles. Thanks, guys. I love stuff like this that's like just intelligent design. And this is absolutely intelligent design at its finest. I gotta have a valve stem remover. I knew I had one somewhere. Wow. That's like magic. Oh no, it won't go over the sprocket. There we go. All right. Apply some bead grease here. Duckbill down to the 6 o'clock position. You got to get the bead up over the duckbill. Well, I don't like that. It's probably a better idea to have the thing over my...
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
So will I be doing this again? Just f***ing my whole wheel up. Holy crud. I'm taking this to the dealership. I don't know if I'm getting too old for this shit, or if I think this is absurd to try to tell you guys that this is a good idea. So this is not a real dog on Rabaconda. It's more of a responsibility that I feel like I have to, just in terms of my relationship with YouTube, tell you guys when I think it's worth it, when it's not. And for a cruiser tire like this, it's just, man, it's just a lot. What happened last time, I'm afraid it's going to happen again. With these tube tires, truth be told, if this wasn't a tube tire situation, I probably would keep on. But with the tube tires, trying to get the tube in here, too much possibility to just grab the tube and kind of blow a hole right in it and have to pull it all back apart. The bead on these things is so thick and such a bear. This is not in any way saying Rabaconda is not a great tool. I think if you're dealing with like dirt bike tires, it's probably a much better solution. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to recommend it for cruisers. At the end of the day, it only costs $126.75 to have the dealership do that process. So that's where you start weighing out in these kinds of situations. How much is your time worth? 4 or 5 hours of wrestling around with a tire, even a couple hours of wrestling around with a tire. By the time you're done blowing your back out, it's just $130. To me, let the pros do it. You're not gonna jack up the spokes, deal with any kinds of problems like that. I do have a balancer here, and we will balance the tires ourselves. I'm just waiting to see where it settles out at. Really all you're doing is taking the spot that settles at the bottom, adding weight to the top to get the whole thing to kind of balance out. All right, that seems pretty darn balanced to me. And now I'm gonna check it for true. That's pretty true. Checking spokes. Everything sounds the same. Sounds good to me. So we can go ahead and get this tire installed back on the bike. Before I put this back on, I'm gonna use this 3M paint removing wheel. Highly recommended. I'm gonna pull off a bunch of the old tape from the old wheel weights. Some marred up spots from the tire irons. Now I take pretty good care of my stuff, but the motorcycle has been interesting to me. I've got some scrapes. There's some battle wounds on here from just loading stuff up on it. I don't know, I think something dropped on this fender. And I don't get all crazy and hung up about that kind of stuff. So I'm not like, it doesn't have to be mint. I don't really mind about the scrapes and bumps. To me, all that stuff just adds character. But at the same time, it's not like I'm trying to intentionally break my stuff either. If I accidentally scrape something while also doing a project that is kind of a giant waste of time in the first place, well then like, you know, why? What for? There we go. This does use a little bit of anti-seize. I used way too much last time. Use way, way less this time. There we are. Honestly, it's not that hard. You just got to kind of wrestle it all in there. I ran to Home Depot to get some threaded rod here. I want to realign this tire and get the belt tension right. So I just got some threaded rod to throw in through here. Then I also got some brass round rod here so I can actually measure this up to the center. I've got a tension tool somewhere. Here we are. Throw some fresh Loctite on here. So I'm going to get the belt just taut enough. That seemed good. So now I'm going to take my brass rod, center to center. Now come over this side, do the same thing and get some fresh Loctite on these threads. And now just want to measure center to center. Pretty close to where it was at before. Just going to check the belt tension one more time. Should make a couple little quick tweaks there. Reassess our marks here. Up just a little tiny bit. That should be all centered up now. Now we can tighten down our axle. Break out the old trusty torque wrench. Now this is a pretty nice Harbor Freight Icon torque wrench. You do not need a torque wrench this nice. I did buy this specifically for the lift kit that I installed on my truck. Made sense for that large of a project. You can get much cheaper torque wrenches on Amazon. Tecton is a brand that I've used quite a bit and they actually work pretty nice. Anytime you add an extension to a torque wrench, you should do a calculation here I'll link this calculator. You go center to what that is. So I am 2 1/4 inches. And then wrench length to the middle of the grip, 22.5. Actual torque is 95 to 100, so we'll just go 100. So indicated torque should be 90. So go 90. Tire is spinning freely. All right, and then put our E-clip back on. Get our brakes reinstalled. So we are all back together here. Now, while I have this up off the ground, I'm going to try to get some of this anti-seize that I have on the side of the wheel here off. It's just way easier to do this now than it is when the saddlebags are on there. It's kind of a whole process, so let's try to clean it up a little bit. Put the exhaust back on here. I also have to replace the battery for my TPMS sensors. These batteries seem to last me maybe like a year and a half or so. So rear tire is back online. So that should come back up. There we are. Ooh, tire pressure is low. 10 pounds low, but this bike's been sitting for a little bit. 36.5. 36.5. Get our exhaust back on here. Let's get our heat shield back on there. And we did it. Sometimes I feel like an idiot. Taking your bike apart, taking your car apart, it really is something that builds some confidence and is something that I think everybody should do to some degree. So let's get the saddlebags back on here. Always take a look at the parts table. Almost forgot our belt guard. And we are done. Take it for a test ride, see how she feels. I have become cumbersome to my girl. Too heavy, too light, too black, too white, too wrong, too right. You're welcome. I have got to say, the level of which I am impressed with this Let's Roll lift, next level. I don't think there's a better solution for wrenching on a bike in your garage without buying a full-blown lift, which I don't have room for. And I'm assuming most of you probably don't either. This thing is an absolute game changer. When I was out in California with John's Moto Garage, we were kind of laughing about the YouTube world where everybody's like, oh, this is a game changer. Thumbnails, game changer. This changed the game. But honestly, I can say this Let's Roll dolly, be able to get the bike in and around the garage, and to be able to take the rear tire off, not only did it worked incredibly well. Push the dolly out. And then always make sure that the stand is down, the side stand, and we'll bring it down. Just got to make sure that it doesn't come my way. And we're down and going over. Man, this thing is awesome. We'll get her out of the garage, take her for a little test ride. Just heading down the highway here, putting on a few miles, just make sure everything's good to go. Feels good. I'll tell you, that whole brand new rear tire, it's nice. When you roll the bike over, just really kind of responds to it really well because you don't have a flat spot on the bottom of the tire there. But I will not be riding for an extended period of time because it is 111 degrees out right now, and riding around in 111 is the least bit enjoyable. For me, the big thing after doing a tire change is just making sure you don't hear anything out of place, and you know, making sure that the belt is running the way that it should. It's nice to get this bike out. I love this Heritage so much. Every time I ride this thing, it reminds me of why I went this route in the first place in terms of choice of bike, but that's another video for another day. Right now, again, just trying to make sure that everything is responding the way that it should. Put it in cruise control. Bike is tracking straight. It's pulling a little bit to the left. Yep, pulling pretty straight. So bike is riding straight. Everything seems to be in good working order. I lost a lens. That's interesting. I felt something hit my leg on that pole, and it was the lens for my turn signal. What's that all about? Oh, it's snapped. All right. Time to order a new one of those. Might need to take another look at the belt here. Looks like it's kind of shifted over to the left a little bit. We'll take a look. Doesn't seem bad though. I don't hear anything crazy. Seems to be good. Oh, lens fell out again. This time she gone. So I forgot to record an outro for this video, but I wanted to quickly show you guys. This is the tire that I pulled off the bike. There still is some tread left there, but it was getting closer to the wear bars. And not only that, but it was also that this tire was manufactured in 2019. So getting up there in age and riding here in the heat in Phoenix, it's definitely earlier than I needed to, but also about that time. And it's really kind of hard to see here, but the tire also was just getting kind of flat, obviously just from a lot of highway miles. So thought it would be a good time to swap that over. Again, this is not a shot at all at Rabaconda. The reason why I really just decided that it was probably not worth it is because of this right here, the tube. With the hour and a half it took me to get the wheel off and how much I had to struggle with the tire irons, my ultimate concern was that putting this tube back in the tire, that I was going to end up nicking the tube with a tire iron and put a hole in it. That happened to me the first time I did the tire change, and I think I thought the Rabaconda would be easier than what it was, and it's just not. So again, if this was a cruiser tire that did not have the tube scenario, I can almost guarantee you I would have just fought through it. The other factor of that is that if it wasn't a tubed tire, it also would not have spokes. So I started getting just a little bit concerned about how much pressure I was really putting on that cruiser tire, trying to pull it off the bead with the spokes. There's a strap that goes around the spokes and all that. So it's like, all right, combination of the amount of time and energy, how much struggle was going into it, the potential, in my opinion, of really wrenching on those spokes and putting a ton of torque, just trying to wrestle that thing off, and then also trying to wrestle it back on. I didn't think that it was something that was worth $130 basically to risk. So if these were aluminum wheels and I wasn't dealing with the spokes, wasn't dealing with the tubes, I would have struggled through it and probably would continue to do it in my garage myself, having the Rabaconda, which is now sitting over here. So again, it's a tough video to put together when you start talking about things that companies send out to you, but I'm also not interested in like faking a narrative for the sake of a company. I mean, my reputation is more important than just pushing product on the channel. So tough video for me to make, but again, like I do with all of my videos, trying to make it as organic and real as I possibly can. And hopefully I achieved that. Sorry to Rabaconda that it took so long to get the video out, but also I would imagine that it's not a video that they're going to love in the first place. So kind of a tough one. And with that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I'll see you guys next time. That was a tough one.